We think that what is necessary today is to have a win-win partner, not a partner where it's only the West that profits. It's about dignity. That's our problem.
The recent coup in Niger has drawn condemnation from Western powers. France, asserting its interest, has even issued a threat of military intervention. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be diving into why France and its allies simply can't let go of Niger.
France said on Saturday it supports efforts to overturn Niger's military coup. This followed a meeting in Paris between France's Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna and Niger's Prime Minister.
Similarly, ECOWAS has also indicated the possibility of a D-Day to invade Niger, by the potential for exacerbating regional instability and causing further loss of life in a country and region that is already suffering with terrorism.
Instability in this part of the world can go very viral very quickly.
Now the question is, despite all this, why then does the Western-backed ECOWAS continue to consider such an intervention? These are the driving motives behind this intense international reaction. 1. Resource access and economic interests. The Sahel region is rich in natural resources. Sahel is said to be endowed with great potential for renewable energy and sits atop some of the largest aquifers on the continent. It has abundant quantities of natural resources. Raw materials are fundamental to Europe's economy, in various industries and modern technologies. Africa's mineral-rich deposits emerge as a vital player in the global energy transition. Sources under the ambitious EU Green Deal.
We are now in the middle of an energy transition, moving from fossil fuels to green, sustainable energy.
The demand for clean technologies is increasing, and with it so is the demand for raw material. The European Union has established a list of 30 critical raw materials, mostly minerals, that are considered strategic to the EU's economy and that have high supply risk.
What are rare earths and why are they so integral to so many new technologies?
Raw materials, including lithium and rare earths, are likely to soon be more important than oil and gas as Europe aims for a zero-carbon future.
Rare earth supply chains are the linchpin to the European Union's industrial policy ambition for transitioning to greener technologies.
All of the clean energy technologies that we need to decarbonize the energy system require large amounts of minerals and metals. So for batteries, for electric vehicles, we need large amounts of lithium, nickel, cobalt, manganese, and graphite. For electric vehicle motors and wind turbines, we need rare earth elements to develop large permanent magnets.
These minerals and metals are used in many technologies, from the smartphone in your pocket to the wind turbines generating clean power far out at sea.
France and the US and its allies wish to secure access to these resources. On another security front, let's talk about uranium. Uranium, a vital component for nuclear power, is central to their plans. So uranium supply from Niger to France and the EU. Approximately 1 out of every 3 light bulbs in France is powered by uranium sourced from Niger. 2012 and 2018, Niger accounted for an average of 16.7% of France's uranium supply. From 2019 to 2022, the share increased to an average of 28.3% of France's uranium supply. Niger also supplied about 1/5 of European Union's uranium needs, making it an important player in EU's energy landscape. So the political stability of Niger is crucial to maintaining a steady supply of uranium, especially a return of Bazoum, who is a key ally to the West. Let's look at another key point in Europe's quest for energy security, which is trade routes. The Sahel region serves as a dynamic crossroads for energy and trade routes that connects Europe with resource-rich regions such as West Africa, the Middle East, and beyond. Its geographical location positions it as a critical transit point for energy resources, particularly liquefied natural gas. Now let's look at a key gas pipeline that is currently in the works and that is at risk, which is the trans-Saharan gas pipeline project. Now, at the heart of the Sahel energy significance lies this transformative potential of the trans-Saharan gas pipeline project. This project is estimated at $13 billion, and this ambitious endeavor aims to connect gas fields, linking it to Niger via Algeria, Morocco, and finally to the European market, ultimately enabling the transfer of up to 30 billion cubic meters of natural gas annually to Europe. Such realization would allow Europe to tap into a new source of gas supply, thereby reducing its reliance on Russian gas. Secondly, so for the past 10 years, Niger has been a key partner for the United States, Europe, and in particular, France. You see, this relationship surged after the French military were asked to leave Mali, Burkina Faso.
French troops leaving Mali in February last year. The forces moved to Niger after Mali and its neighbour Burkina Faso became increasingly hostile to French involvement, leaving Niger as the pivotal ally for Western powers.
In the heart of the Sahel region, Niger plays host to a significant military presence from both French and US forces, including other European allies. Currently, approximately 1,500 French soldiers have been stationed in Niger as part of France's Sahel operation. However, tensions have risen since August 3rd, when Niger's ruling military publicly criticized a series of military agreements with France. Junta, which has taken control of the government, is demanding that France's 1,500 soldiers leave the country by early September. In addition to French presence, about 1,100 US troops are presently deployed in Niger. A significant aspect of America's military operation in Niger is the establishment of a drone base called Air Base 201. This features a 6,200-foot runway designed to accommodate both manned and unmanned aircrafts, including MQ-9 Reapers, each valued at $30 million. The primary purpose of this base is surveillance activities across West and North Africa. Similarly, Canada has also invested significant funds into Niger, contributing to the overall foreign military presence. Notably, there are about 100 German soldiers stationed in Niger as well, and despite the strategic positioning of these foreign military bases to combat terrorism, the Sahel region continues to experience escalating instability. And finally, the competition for access to minerals, to oil, to gas, and other valuable commodities intensifies the contest for partnership and alliances in the region, and Western nations have been compelled to safeguard their existing partnerships and prevent further erosion. Are motivated to counter the influence of Russia and China.
And to discuss U.S. and Russian as well as Chinese efforts to gain stronger sway in Africa, sit counter to Chinese influence, advocates for democracy, which he said counters Russian influence, fights COVID, and to lead a clean energy transition, is not forcing African countries to choose between the U.S. and China or the U.S. and Russia, but rather providing a choice. Is that what the U.S. is doing?
Well, I think they're providing a choice so long as the choice is the United States.
So the US says that Africans are free to make their choice on who to trade with. But their actions do not match their words. A United States bill is making its way through Congress. The bill is titled the Countering Malign Russian Activities in Africa Act. It passed the House of Representatives with an overwhelming bipartisan majority of 419 to 9, and is expected to become law upon Senate approval. The bill outlines a strategy for the U.S. to counter perceived Russian influence and actions in Africa. This bill, introduced in the United States Congress, claims to Russian influence on the continent of Africa. But is it really about protecting African interests? Or is there more to this story? Let's look into the bill's motives. The Countering Malign Russian Activities in Africa Act says it's aimed at safeguarding African nations from external manipulation. But is it really that noble? Raises questions. Are the US and Europe truly concerned about Africa? Or could there be ulterior motives given their own history of exploiting the continent? Let's talk about the term malign activities. Defines this as actions undermining US interest attributed to Russia and its proxies. Thus, American interests have to do with African interests. African governments have also raised concerns about the bill's true intentions. Is it really about protecting vulnerable nations, or is it an attempt to push African countries to align with Western agendas? The West's history of double standards and economic exploitation doesn't inspire confidence in their newfound concern for African well-being. Is this bill just a new form of colonization, disguising itself as protection? African nations have the right to choose their own partners and manage their own resources independently of the US. Now let's shine a light on the European Union's role. They claim to champion human rights and democracy. Well, is that the whole story? Europe's past actions and ongoing actions in Africa, coupled with their push for so-called international rule-based order, raises eyebrows. Is this really about Africa's well-being or furthering their own interests? As we look at the bigger picture, it becomes clear that the US and Europe's perspective isn't shared by most African countries. It's crucial to question the motives behind such actions and to always consider the historic context. We'll continue to bring you thought-provoking insights, so stay tuned and stay informed. And until next time, thank you for watching and goodbye.